What if the person sitting next to you, the one you trust, the one you think you know, was hiding something? Not just a secret, but something darker, something evil. Evil doesn't always look like a villain in a movie. Sometimes it wears a friendly smile. Sometimes it pretends to love you, but if you pay attention, the truth is always there. The signs? They're subtle, but once you see them, you can't unsee them. Today we're exposing the 7 red flags that reveal the person next to you might not just be toxic, but truly, dangerously evil. Stay with me until the end, because missing even one of these signs could mean the difference between protecting yourself and falling into their trap. Red flag number 1. They manipulate your reality. One of the most powerful weapons in the arsenal of a wicked person is their ability to instill self-doubt in you. They try to change the truth when you catch them in a lie, instead of just acknowledging that they lied. Out of nowhere, they act as if you are the one who is confused, the one who is being unreasonable, and the one who is causing the problem. Gaslighting is the name of this strategy, and it is one of the most deceptive types of psychological manipulation. It's not only about lying, it's about twisting reality, making you doubt your own recollection, and gradually undermining your confidence until you begin to rely on them to define reality for you. They gradually wear you down, and before you know it, you stop trusting your own view of the world. This is not a coincidence. It is a purposeful assault on your psyche. Seneca cautioned us about people like this when he said, "Depraved men are flattering, deceitful and treacherous, and whatever they say is aimed at their own gain." People that are evil do not exploit others for enjoyment. They do it to get power. They make it simpler to control you by causing you to question your own experiences. They aim to make you weaker so that they can have control over you. If someone in your life is always changing the past, denying things that are obviously true, or making you doubt your own sanity, get away from them. The longer you are around someone who gaslights you, the more difficult it will be to get away from them. Gaslighting is not always easy to recognize. At first, it may appear to be harmless misconceptions. They say they never said anything, even if you know that they did. When you share your feelings, they claim that you are being too sensitive or overreacting. They refuse to accept responsibility when they are faced with their own terrible behavior. They say things like, "You are not remembering it correctly." Instead, "You always blow things out of proportion." "You are thinking too much again." "That never took place." "You must be imagining things." "Quit being so over the top." "Why are you behaving in such a strange way?" And as time goes on, you begin to question whether you are overreacting. "It is B that I truly did not grasp. I might be too sensitive." However, you are not. This is precisely what they want, to make you doubt yourself until you are no longer able to trust your own judgment. After that occurs, they will have total control. Gaslighting is one of the most effective tactics that a manipulator has because it makes you feel alone. The longer they gaslight you, the more confused you become. You begin to depend on them to determine what is real and what is not. You feel scared to communicate your worries with other people because you are concerned that you might be mistaken. What if it is all just in your imagination? And that is the trick. The more you doubt yourself, the less inclined you are to confront them. They have successfully taken control of your mind and made themselves the authority over it. According to Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When you let a gaslighter influence how you see the world, the lies they tell you become your reality. You start to think that you are constantly wrong, that you are unable to make smart decisions, and that you cannot trust your memories. As time goes on, you may find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do, feeling terrible without knowing why, or hesitant to speak because you're frightened of being told you're wrong. Again, what is the most terrible part? You don't even notice that it's happening until the damage has already been done. Gaslighting can have a severe impact on a person's mental health. People who have been victims of long-term gaslighting frequently feel anxiety and sadness, as well as physical symptoms such as headaches and persistent fatigue. Because you have been trained to have self-doubt, you may find it difficult to make even the simplest judgments. You may feel like you are going crazy, and if you ever find the confidence to confront the person who is manipulating you, they will only become more aggressive. They will act like they are the victim. They will make you feel like the bad guy for even asking them a question, and they will flip the situation around on you. Gaslighting is most effective when it is done in secret and with misunderstanding. The first step to breaking free is to recognize it for what it is. If you are continually feeling the need to prove what really happened, if you are apologizing for something you did not do, if you are always second-guessing yourself, or if you are feeling anxious about someone but cannot figure out why, these are all clear signs that something is wrong. Have faith in your gut feelings. Your uncertainty is something that bad people depend on. They require you to be unsure. Their grip over you starts to weaken the moment you begin to trust yourself again. The harsh reality is that you cannot fix a gaslighter. Gaslighting is not something they do by mistake. It is a tactic they do on purpose. It is pointless to attempt to persuade them to see the truth or to acknowledge their deception. They will merely continue to distort what you say, which will make you feel even more confused. What is the best defense? Distance. If you can, remove them from your life completely. If you have to interact with them, such as in a professional or family scenario, make sure to establish clear limits. Make sure your conversations are short, based on facts, and recorded. Do not engage in an argument with them. They feed off of emotional responses. Their influence becomes weaker the less power you give them. Above all, have confidence in yourself. You are not insane. You are not seeing things that are not there. If someone is making you feel that way, it is because they want to have power over you. Do not hand it over to them. Red flag number 2. They lack empathy. Being able to empathize is a key component of being human. It is the instinct that compels us to assist someone who is in trouble, the force that encourages us to support our loved ones when they are in pain, and the invisible thread that connects us through our common experiences. We lose the ability to connect, understand, and truly care for one another when we lack empathy. However, there are certain people, bad people, who do not feel empathy at all. They can see other people in pain and not feel anything at all. In fact, some people may even enjoy the agony that they cause or see. They are incapable of feeling guilt, regret, or compassion. For them, the pain that other people experience is just a background to their own self-centered wants. Epictetus expressed this absence of compassion when he wrote, "The soul that lacks virtue does not suffer with others." What he meant was that a person who lacks empathy and has no virtue in their soul is unable to feel the anguish of others. They are unable to comprehend what it is like to experience pain, hardship, or sorrow. They might know that someone else is in suffering, but it won't have any impact on them. They will not be motivated to take action. They may choose to ignore the pain, make fun of it, or even take pleasure in it rather than providing assistance. A person who does not have empathy does not think that the pain of others should be lessened. It is something that can be utilized, manipulated, and frequently exploited. They flourish in situations of turmoil and uncertainty because individuals are more likely to be vulnerable and easier to manipulate when they are in pain. This could be as basic as a careless remark that makes fun of someone's sentiments, or as extreme as deliberately causing distress in order to manipulate other people. If they can make you feel insignificant, insecure, or weak, they can continue to have power over you. However, it is not only about control, it is also about a total lack of consideration for your well-being. When there is wickedness, suffering is not met with compassion, it is met with harshness. Have you ever been in the presence of someone who thinks it funny when other people have bad luck? They might laugh when someone else trips, or they might mock someone who is having a hard time emotionally. Perhaps they make fun of a coworker who recently lost a family member, or they ridicule a buddy who is dealing with a difficult split. This is not light-hearted humor. It is a sign of a serious and troubling absence of empathy. In certain situations, the individual does not simply overlook the pain. They actually take pleasure in it. They do not experience compassion. They experience satisfaction. They could even go out of their way to create situations in which others endure agony, only for their own enjoyment. In relationships, this lack of empathy might be far more subtle, but it can still be just as harmful. It shows itself through a lack of emotional support, a disrespect for your needs, and a complete absence of assistance when you are facing difficulties. They will not provide you with consolation when you are feeling vulnerable. Instead, they will advise you to get over it or stop being dramatic, and they will ignore your feelings. They can say that you are overly sensitive, or they might make you feel bad for sharing your sentiments in the first place. They will not perceive your pain because they do not think it is real. They will not intervene to assist you because they consider your suffering to be unimportant, and they would find it bothersome to help you. This absence of empathy is particularly hazardous since it is frequently concealed behind a facade of attractiveness. At first, they may appear to be loving or empathetic, eager to provide assistance when they detect vulnerability. However, as time passes, their actual nature starts to become apparent. They will begin to undermine you in a subtle way, causing you to believe that your feelings are unimportant. They will not be there when you need them the most, and when you finally face them, they will accuse you of overreacting. They will manipulate you in such a way that you will start to doubt your own sentiments and wonder if you are overreacting, but you are not. You are in a risky situation because you are interacting with someone who cannot comprehend your emotional demands. They could like creating drama and confusion in social situations, particularly if it means making other people feel awful. They might spread falsehoods, blow someone's faults out of proportion, or turn people against each other just for the sake of entertainment. They enjoy causing division because it makes them feel powerful and in charge. They may fabricate a bogus story about someone else's life, spreading misinformation to keep the rumor mill going. And even if they are not directly participating, they sit back and enjoy watching the destruction take place. The true threat posed by someone who lacks empathy is that they frequently conceal their ill will under a mask of politeness, charm, and even kindness. They are skilled at manipulating your emotions so that you feel terrible for questioning their objectives. They could provide their assistance when it is convenient for them, but that assistance is never sincere. It is always calculated, intended to keep you engaged, to make you feel like you are in their debt, and to make you feel like you owe them something. However, they vanish when you actually need them. They make you feel abandoned, and even worse, they could even blame you for your own pain, saying that you should have dealt with things better. People who are wicked like this frequently utilize their inability to empathize with others to manipulate them. They will exploit your weaknesses by manipulating your feelings in order to keep you feeling unstable and reliant on their approval or attention. They will take advantage of the fact that they know you are in pain and use it as a chance to control you into giving them what they desire. And when they no longer find you useful, they will throw you away without a moment's hesitation, leaving you feeling lost and broken. They are indifferent. They never did that. If you see someone who is downplaying the pain that others are feeling, disregarding their emotions, or taking pleasure in the misery of others, pay attention. This absence of empathy is a warning sign that should not be overlooked. If someone is unable to empathize with other people, they will not be able to empathize with you. If they have demonstrated that they do not care about the pain that others feel, it is only a matter of time until they show you that they do not care about you either. Keep yourself safe. Be careful around persons who lack empathy, as they do not have a soul to give. They will never see you for who you really are. They will only regard you as a source of things they may steal from you. Red flag number 3. They are pathological liars. They lie as easily as if it were second nature to them. They don't only tell lies to avoid getting into trouble, they also do it for fun. They will lie even when telling the truth will not cause them any harm. They lie because they think of deception as a game, and the more people they trick, the more powerful they feel. Marcus Aurelius, in his wisdom, advised, "If anything is not proper, do not do it. Do not say it if it is not true." A Stoic considers truth to be sacrosanct, since it is the basis of trust and honesty. However, for someone who is evil, the truth is just a minor nuisance that may be twisted, warped, and manipulated to fit their own objectives. For them, lying is not merely a strategy, it is a way of life. They tell stories so easily that the distinction between what is genuine and what is made up starts to fade, not only for the people around them, but for themselves as well. A pathological liar does not always lie out of fear or to avoid the repercussions of their actions. In many cases, they lie just for the excitement of it, since they believe that the truth is flexible and not significant. The world is a theater, and their lies are the script they follow. These deceptions, which have been meticulously constructed, are a manifestation of their drive for power and dominance. They give them the feeling that they are superior and that they can mold reality to their liking. They frequently tell lies that are intricate and believable. It could be something as minor as altering the specifics of a casual chat, or as significant as inventing a complete life story in order to earn respect. They may say that they have connections they do not have, accomplishments they did not attain, or even experiences they have never had. They fabricate stories about their acquaintances, their travels, and their actions in order to present a more attractive, more influential, and more appealing version of themselves than what is actually true. The important point is that the deception is not always needed. It doesn't always have a function right away. They tell lies only to see if they can get away with it, to see how many people they can trick, and to relish the feeling of superiority that comes with manipulating others. At times, the lies will be so absurd and so far removed from reality that they will not even appear to fit into any kind of logical story. However, the wicked individual does not care about logic or reason. They are focused on the manipulation and the emotional response they receive when they tell a lie. The rewards are the astonishment, bewilderment, and doubt that they induce in other people. It is about causing other people to doubt their own perceptions of reality and making them uncertain about what is true and what is not. This volatility contributes to their feeling of power. The more you doubt your own reality, the easier it is for them to control you. The beauty of their lies is that they often come with a sophisticated understanding of human nature. They know just what to say to manipulate your feelings, to make you feel bad for them, or to make you feel like you have misunderstood something. They refuse to admit it when they are found lying. They go on to create an even more complicated lie to cover it up, persuading you to believe that the first one was simply a misunderstanding or that you misheard them. They are always right. They have never told a falsehood. They have simply been misinterpreted. As time goes on, you will see that their lies become more exaggerated and their deception becomes more complicated. You could find yourself in a situation where you are surrounded by contradictions. If someone tells a falsehood today, they will have to tell another lie tomorrow to cover it up. Instead of rectifying the initial lie, they will add another layer to their story, which will make things much more complicated. The number of lies becomes so great that it is no longer feasible to remember all they have stated. They will tell you one thing, then a few days later they will say something that is completely different, and they will never seem to be bothered by it. They seem to have no sense of guilt for the disorder they cause by being dishonest. While you are attempting to put together their story, you may find that they contradict themselves. For example, one story may not match the last one, or they may provide details that do not match the facts. They may make exaggerated statements about their own accomplishments, or even attempt to elicit compassion by inventing difficulties that they have never experienced. The more you question the discrepancies in their stories, the more they insist that their stories are true. They will argue their falsehoods with such confidence that you will start to question your own sanity. Even if you are just stating the facts, they will make you feel like you are the one who is lying. The purpose of this strategy is to exhaust you and make you feel like you are being unreasonable for asking them questions. And here's the thing. People who lie compulsively typically don't think that lying is wrong. They see it as nothing more than a means to manipulate and dominate other people. They could tell you a falsehood about something as insignificant as where they were last night, or as significant as the fundamental principles they say they follow. In their opinion, truth and honesty are merely social constructions that can be manipulated to suit their needs, which is why they have no qualms about lying. The harm they create goes beyond the falsehoods themselves. It also includes the trust they breach, the relationships they destroy, and the emotional manipulation they inflict on people who believe in their narrative. It is crucial to be aware of the pattern if you know someone who has a history of lying, particularly regarding significant matters. This is not just about a few innocuous lies anymore. It is about a harmful personality trait that will undermine the foundation of any relationship. If someone lies without any effort, they are demonstrating that they do not care about the truth. They have no respect for you, and they definitely do not have any respect for themselves. They are simply loyal to their own interests and their capacity to manipulate other people. If they are caught, they will either deny that they are lying or come up with a more complicated falsehood to disguise their tracks. They will manipulate you into believing that you are the one who is confused or misinformed. They could try to flip the issue around by blaming you for the problem, questioning your motives, and making you feel bad for calling them out. Ultimately, the pathological liar feeds off of your uncertainty, your bewilderment, and your lack of self-trust. Eventually, you will come to understand that you can never really know what is true when they are present. You will be left doubting everything you believed you knew about them and about yourself because of their lies. Their lies will undermine your confidence, causing you to doubt your instincts, your memories, and your ability to see things clearly. You may even begin to question whether your other relationships are real, since they have caused you to be so unsure of what is true. This is the most hazardous characteristic of a pathological liar. Their lies do more than simply ruin the truth. They also undermine trust, relationships, and your ability to view the world as it really is. That trust can never be completely regained after it has been broken. So think about it. Is it possible for you to live in a world where you are always being deceived? Is it possible for you to maintain a relationship with someone who is not honest and is careless with the truth? You cannot have a healthy relationship with someone if you do not trust them. If their lies are starting to tear apart the fundamental foundation of your reality, it is time to go. If they can deceive you so effortlessly, what else are they capable of doing to maintain their power over you? Red flag number 4. They isolate you from others. At first it appears to be innocent. They begin to make comments such as, "I don't think your friends really support you," or "your family doesn't understand you like I do." At first these statements may seem like they are made with good intentions. You may even dismiss them as concerns that are not serious. However, this is where the manipulation starts. They gradually begin to separate you from the individuals who genuinely care about you. Initially, it is simply a small seed of doubt that is planted. Questions about your friends, family, or co-workers. You could start to wonder if they truly care about you, and even feel bad about spending time with them. It is obvious that the main purpose of these tactics is to get influence over you. A wicked person can never be happy in a relationship where they are treated equally. They require power over others. They understand that if you have a solid support structure behind you, it is hard for anyone to dominate you. If there are other people in your life who give you validation, comfort, and emotional stability, they will not be able to control you. They begin to gradually weaken such bonds by utilizing sneaky methods to make you question them. What begins as an innocent remark, "Your friends don't really understand you like I do," ultimately develops into a complete set of isolation techniques. As time goes on, they convince you that your family and friends are not supportive, are critical of you, or cannot be trusted. They might even go so far as to say that the people who have supported you the longest are the ones who are keeping you from reaching your full potential. They might say that they understand you better than anybody else, which suggests that they think the other people don't actually care about you as much as they do. They are making a deliberate attempt to substitute the impact of everyone else with their own. Initially, it may appear that they are simply attempting to be of assistance. They might actually be concerned about you and your well-being. However, there is a threatening subtext to what they are saying. They are trying to make themselves seem to be the only person you can depend on and the only one who really understands you. They are trying to make themselves the most important persons in your life, gradually pushing away the people who have always supported you. You may not even be aware of the slow change. It happens so gradually that you don't notice the pattern until it is already too late. To begin with, they gradually weaken your relationships. After that, they persuade you to select them instead of other options. They may ask questions such as, "Why do you spend so much time with them? I thought we were meant to work together as a team." They will make you feel bad for spending time with your family or friends. They will be there to support you and reassure you as soon as you start to distance yourself from them, even if it is just a small bit. They will do this in order to strengthen the idea that they are the only person you need. It becomes a cycle. The more you distance yourself from others, the more they make themselves out to be your sole real source of support. Eventually, your world shrinks until they are the only person left in it. This strategy is quite effective because it appeals to your feelings and your desire for affection and support. Human beings are social creatures by nature. We depend on our connections for emotional stability, wisdom, and reassurance. A good friend or family member inspires us to grow, to be loyal to ourselves, and to keep people who truly care about us close to us. However, a wicked person whose objective is to control and manipulate knows that if they can cut those connections, they will be the only source of everything you need. That is where the risk is located. The more you isolate yourself, the more you rely on others. You can find yourself asking them for their opinion on everything, second-guessing your own judgment, and looking for their approval in every situation. You might even start to feel confused and uncertain about who you can trust because they have taken the place of your loved ones, and now you regard them as the only person who really knows you. This emotional manipulation causes a psychological state in which you are no longer able to make decisions on your own. Everything you do feels like it needs their approval. This is how they take control of you. They destroy your support structure, one relationship at a time, until you are fully dependent on them. They utilize isolation as a way to make you feel small, unimportant, and unable to function without their help. When you attempt to contact your family or friends, they will work behind the scenes to generate drama or conflict, making you feel terrible for even thinking about reaching out. If you have been exploited in this manner, the person may even turn your loved ones against you by portraying them as untrustworthy or judgmental. In certain situations, they may even tell lies in order to make it appear as though the people who care about you are the ones who are generating problems. One of the typical tactics they might employ is to create tension or drama surrounding your connections with other people. They might remark something like, "I don't think your best friend has your best interests at heart. Do you really trust them?" Or, "Your family is only interested in controlling you. They do not support your development." These comments are not only dismissive, they are also a clear attempt to undermine your confidence in those individuals. They want you to feel like you have to choose between them and the people you care about. And when that happens, they will always present themselves as the better option. Seneca cautioned us about harmful influences when he remarked, "A wise man does not keep company with those who would corrupt him." This is precisely what occurs when someone is attempting to isolate you from others. They are trying to distort your vision of reality and convince you that your friends and family are not on your side. They want you to think of them as your lone ally so that they may manipulate you and control your activities without interference when the time comes. One of the most obvious indicators that someone is toxic and controlling is when they try to separate you from other people. If you see that someone in your life is using subtle comments to try to distance you from the people who love and support you, take a step back. This relationship is not a good one. You do not have to take people out of your life in order to have true love, friendship, and loyalty. They urge you to keep good relationships with the people who care about you. But what about wicked people? They will do everything it takes to make themselves the most important part of your life. If you notice these warning signs, such as someone gradually isolating you from your friends, family, or support system, acknowledge it for what it is. This is not what love is. This is control. Run away before they completely cut you off. If you found this information useful, be sure to subscribe so that you don't lose out on vital insights like this in the future. Keep yourself safe from individuals who want to cut you off from others and dominate you. Keep in mind that the health of your connections is essential for maintaining your life centered in truth, trust, and support. Red flag number 5. They take pleasure in others' pain. By seeing how someone responds to another person's suffering, you can learn a great deal about that individual. Some individuals feel compassion, while others may feel pity. However, the genuinely evil ones, those with warped hearts, feel something much darker. They experience pleasure. They acquire a perverse feeling of delight when others stumble, fail, or suffer. They don't just stand by when someone is in pain, they really take pleasure in it. They look on with a smile, their eyes shining with delight at the misfortunes of other people. To them, it's a game and a way to show their authority. What is the reason for their actions? To put it simply, those who are wicked enjoy having power over others, and there is no greater power than being able to make someone else feel weak, insignificant, or broken. The pleasure they derive from someone else's failure is not limited to that time. It is a manifestation of their wish to feel superior, as if they are invincible and beyond the suffering that others endure. Their agony and their failure are both a sign of their might. When someone is having a hard time or is feeling broken, it gives them the feeling that they are in charge. It confirms their notion that they are in some way superior to or more deserving than other people. Marcus Aurelius reportedly remarked, "What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee." This remark expresses the fundamental idea of Stoicism, that when someone does something that causes harm to another person, they are eventually harming themselves as well. On the other hand, wicked people are oblivious to this fact. They do not stop to think about the effects of what they do. They take action in the moment, reveling in the sense of power they have when someone else makes a mistake. They consume that energy, soaking it in as if it were a lifeline. The most unfortunate aspect of this enjoyment of suffering is that it is frequently concealed behind a facade of false compassion or apathy. They may pretend that they are simply being direct, truthful, or providing tough love, but in truth, they are secretly relishing every moment of discomfort that they inflict. They could make jokes at the expense of someone who is struggling, or they might offer helpful advice that is actually a hurtful comment. However, if you take a closer look, you will notice it, the smirk, the glimmer in their eye, and the feeling of satisfaction that comes over them when they realize they have touched a nerve. That is where the risk is. It is not only their words or actions that are concerning, it is also the perverse enjoyment they derive from inflicting or observing the pain of others. They could seem to be having light-hearted conversations in social situations, but if you look closely, you will realize that there are some unkind implications. When someone fails a test or misses an opportunity, the first person to make a comment is often a malicious individual who will make a joke that is hurtful or a snarky remark that makes the person who is suffering feel even more alone. They will not provide assistance or compassion. Instead, they will ridicule, make fun of, and demean. They will remark things like, "Well, that's what you get for not being good enough," or "You probably deserved it," as if the failure of another person somehow makes them better than that person. They don't only feel no concern for pain, they actually like it. This cruel behavior is not only about observing the sorrow of a random stranger from a distance, it gets personal. You can even discover that you are the next target when you are around someone who takes pleasure in the agony of others. They will watch you closely, waiting for the moment when you fall or struggle, so that they may see your vulnerability. They will not only be watching, they will also ensure that you are aware of your failure. They will take advantage of your weaknesses, and at times, it may not be obvious at first. They may give you advice that you didn't ask for, or they may bring up a mistake you made in the past. They do this while acting arrogant, which supports their distorted perception of themselves as being better, more competent, and less flawed than everyone else. However, wicked individuals do not limit themselves to simply taking pleasure in the misfortunes of others. They frequently take things farther. If they sense that you're already down, they will kick you while you're vulnerable. They will make your wounds worse by bringing up your past blunders or by taking advantage of your vulnerabilities. The more you suffer, the more they enjoy the power they believe they have over you. They will want to watch you squirm, to see you broken. They will twist the knife farther because that is how they satisfy their egos. You know what it feels like to be helpless if you have ever been around someone like this. You understand how their comments hurt you and how their actions make you feel inferior. It feels like being trapped in a harmful loop in which your suffering is turned into entertainment for others. They enjoy seeing you suffer, and the more you struggle, the more they benefit from it. And what is the most unfortunate aspect? They will never feel sorry for what they did. They will pretend that it is all in good fun, as if they are simply being real. But beyond that mask is a person who takes genuine joy in the pain of others. They may try to convince you that they are merely helping you grow by disguising their harshness as a teachable moment. They might say, "I'm just being honest with you, you need to accept it." However, in truth, their remarks are more painful than any constructive criticism. It's not about helping you get better. It's about them establishing their superiority and making you feel like you don't measure up, so that they can make themselves look better to you. If you have come across someone like this, it is crucial to understand that this is not typical behavior. Someone who has a healthy sense of empathy would never feel pleasure when another person is in pain. A close friend, family member, or loved one may feel sad or empathetic while you are going through a difficult period, but they will never take pleasure in your failure. They will provide assistance, consolation, and direction, not ridicule or malice. If you know someone who finds pleasure in the misery of others, whether it be by making jokes at their expense, laughing when they fall, or turning their anguish into entertainment, that is a major warning sign. These folks are not friends, they are predators, and they are a threat to your safety. This behavior should not be overlooked. This is not simply a defect. It is a toxic trait that reveals a deeply ingrained evil nature. People who are evil and enjoy causing misery to others are hazardous because they just care about themselves and not about the well-being of anyone else. They will take advantage of your weaknesses, your suffering, and your errors in order to make their own weak self-esteem seem stronger. They are not your friends. They are your enemies pretending to be your friends. If you let them into your life, they will only bring you more pain and sadness. If you witness someone smiling at the misfortune of others, or taking pleasure in causing pain, or watching someone struggle, understand that this is a serious moral failing. You do not want this person to be a part of your life. You should not place your trust in this person. In order to protect your serenity, you should distance yourself from those who take pleasure in your misery. Instead, you should surround yourself with people who truly care about you, support you, and want to see you succeed. Red flag number 6. They never take responsibility. People who are evil will never acknowledge when they have made a mistake. This is one of the most obvious indications that you are interacting with a person who has a distorted personality. In their environment, there is no time for self-reflection. They will come up with every excuse imaginable to avoid taking responsibility for their conduct, regardless of how evident the error is or how clear the fault is. If something goes wrong, they will find a way to put the responsibility on you. If they are caught in a lie, they will try to flip the situation around and make it look like you misheard, misconstrued, or just misunderstood what they said. If there is a disagreement, they will blame you and say that you are the one who started it. They are never the ones at fault. The blame is always placed on you or some outside influence. This action is not about saving face. It is about control. The more they avoid taking responsibility, the more they transfer the blame onto others, and the more they portray themselves as victims. They believe that they are incapable of making mistakes. They are surrounded by a world that is faulty, and everyone else is flawed as well. Yet they remain undamaged and unaffected by their own acts despite all of this. They do everything they can to avoid being held accountable, since doing so would mean that they would have to address the true nature of their behavior, and they are not able to do that. Seneca, who was a Stoic philosopher, reportedly stated, "He who blames others has a long way to go. Someone who blames himself is halfway to their goal. The person who does not blame anyone has come." These words are real because they show the way to wisdom and self-control. The Stoics recognize that taking responsibility is an important part of personal development. A truly wise person takes responsibility for their faults. They get knowledge from them and strive to better themselves. However, a wicked person, someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions, is trapped in a condition of constant immaturity. They will never make any progress since they are unwilling to think about their past and improve themselves. So, what makes this failure to take responsibility so dangerous? To begin with, it indicates a high degree of arrogance and self-deception. When a person will not acknowledge that they have made a mistake, they are in effect declaring, "I am above criticism. I am flawless. Regardless of the repercussions, my activities are justified." This way of thinking is harmful. It does not allow for development or comprehension. The wicked individual does not take the time to think about what they have done, since doing so would require them to acknowledge their wrongdoing and experience guilt, emotions they would prefer to steer clear of at any cost. However, this is not simply a case of avoiding emotions. It is an indication that there is a serious problem with their character. Someone who is unable to acknowledge when they are mistaken is someone who is unable to learn from their errors. Their incapacity to learn makes them dangerous, since they will continue to repeat the same detrimental habits over and over again. They will inflict pain on the same individuals, cause the same disorder, and leave behind the same mess. However, they will never acknowledge their role in it. They will always try to make someone else responsible. Imagine that you are in a relationship with someone who never takes responsibility for anything. Every argument you make becomes an exercise in avoiding the issue at hand. As soon as you attempt to communicate your emotions or explain how their behavior has caused you pain, they will flip the scenario and blame you for being overly dramatic, for failing to comprehend, or for misunderstanding what has happened. And after they have changed the story enough, they will leave, and you will be left wondering if your own reality is real. Was I really at fault? Did I overreact? However, that uncertainty is exactly what they want you to experience. It is a type of emotional manipulation. If they can persuade you that you are the one at fault, they may free themselves from any sense of shame or obligation, all while leaving you feeling emotionally drained and confused. This pattern will gradually exhaust you. You start to doubt your own thoughts and feelings, which makes it more difficult for you to have confidence in yourself. They have successfully taken control of your self-esteem and your ability to see things clearly. The most important thing to understand is the patterns that they create. They hardly ever take responsibility for anything, particularly when it comes to important matters. If they make a mistake at work, they will point fingers onto the system, their managers, or their co-workers. If they hurt your feelings, it is your responsibility for being too sensitive. If something goes wrong in their personal lives, it is due to poor luck or other forces, not because of any decisions they have made. And when they get you backed into a corner, they will have mastered the ability to persuade you that you were somehow involved in their failures. It is a never-ending cycle of blame, shifting, and gaslighting. In the workplace, this lack of responsibility may show up as a person who always claims credit for the achievements of others, but never admits to their own errors. If everything goes well, they will be the first to take credit for it. But if everything goes poorly, they will swiftly disappear or find someone else to blame. They will never be the ones to say, "I made a mistake," because that would put them in a position where they are vulnerable. They do not want to exhibit any signs of weakness, and if you stick around long enough, they will eventually hold you responsible for everything. This is the most malevolent part of the way they act. If you let them keep doing this, they will eventually make you responsible for what they do. They will manipulate every story, change every argument, and make you feel like you are the one who should be ashamed and apologize. And if you continue to give in to their demands, they will become more controlling. You will be responsible for things that do not even belong to you. This dynamic is especially harmful since it might result in emotional fatigue. The more they try to shift the blame, the more you are obliged to take on their responsibilities. You may find yourself in a position where you are continually defending yourself, explaining your behavior, second-guessing your judgments, and questioning your worth. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much to handle, and you can even start to think that you are the problem in some strange way. This is the manipulation that is happening. You need to identify this pattern before it completely ensnares you. Individuals who do not take responsibility for their actions are unable to maintain healthy, balanced relationships. These people will constantly bring disruption into your life without ever admitting that they are responsible for it, regardless of whether they are a love partner, a friend, or even a co-worker. Because they refuse to take responsibility for their actions, they are trapped in a never-ending loop of bad choices and personal stagnation, and they will pull everyone around them into that same hole. They will never develop, and they will ensure that you do not develop either. What actions may you take when you observe this behavior? The first thing to do is to establish clear boundaries. It is important to prioritize your own mental well-being when someone consistently refuses to take responsibility. You need to distance yourself from them if they are unable to think about their behavior and learn from it. They will never change, and if you let them stay in your life, you will just continue to suffer. Understand that it is not your responsibility to solve the situation. You cannot force someone to change if they do not want to change. Instead, concentrate on your own development, your own feeling of responsibility, and your own honesty. Do not let someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions have control over you. Red flag number 7. They pretend to be good. What is the most harmful type of evil? The person who is wearing a mask. These people are experts at tricking others. They appear to be the very definition of kindness, as they are kind, loving, generous, and caring. They know precisely what to say and how to act in order to get people's favor. They seem to be unselfish and kind, but in truth, their behavior is a carefully planned act, a performance that is meant to dominate and manipulate others. At first, you might not notice anything out of the ordinary. They are courteous, they pay close attention, and they always appear to know precisely what to say in order to make you feel understood. They may go above and above to assist others, give you presents, or provide assistance when you are experiencing a difficult period. Although everything they do appears to be sincere, the reality is that it is all part of their plan to earn your trust and solidify their role in your life. The mask they wear is meant to make you feel secure, appreciated, and at ease in their presence. However, this behavior is not driven by genuine concern or caring. It is driven by self-interest. These individuals do not genuinely care about your pleasure or well-being. They are not concerned with you. They are only interested in what they can get from you. They use compassion as a weapon to lower your defenses and make you feel safe when you really aren't. As soon as they earn your trust and you get more relaxed, they will take advantage of that trust to manipulate and dominate you. What makes this so risky? Due to the fact that it is nearly impossible to notice at first. They are so proficient at trying to be nice that they fit in without any effort. The majority of individuals are completely unaware of anything until it is too late. These individuals are skilled at reading situations and adapting their conduct to fit the atmosphere of the room. They will say whatever you want to hear, meet your emotional demands, and make you feel like they are your greatest supporter. However, as soon as they have you under their control, their true colors begin to emerge. And by that time, you may have become too emotionally attached to leave. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What Marcus is saying is that the thoughts, behaviors, and intentions that occupy a person's mind eventually shape who they are. Someone who is always thinking about how to influence other people and how to keep up the appearance of being decent is ultimately harming their own soul. They are acting like someone they are not, and this lie eats away at their integrity and leaves them feeling empty within. People who pretend to be decent have a difficulty in that they can only keep up the act for a limited amount of time. In the end, the mask comes off. The fissures start to become visible and their real nature is revealed. At first, it may be difficult to notice, perhaps a contradiction between their words and actions or an inconsistency in their behavior. When they do not receive what they want, they may display signals of rage or frustration, or you may catch them in a lie. Eventually, the act becomes too difficult to keep up, and their real personality begins to show. You may observe that they are only nice when it is advantageous for them. They will do wonderful things for you, but only because they want something in return. You will see an entirely different side of them, one that is cold, dismissive, or even aggressive, once you stop giving them what they want. This is the first indication that their goodwill was never sincere. It was simply a way to achieve a goal. For instance, imagine that you have a friend that is always there for you, always willing to lend a hand, and always giving you their time and energy. However, when you are in a vulnerable situation and truly need anything, they are nowhere to be found. They do not answer when you phone them. They do not respond when you send them a message. They react with a vague justification or say, "Sorry, I'm too busy right now," when they do respond. It is during these times of necessity that the mask begins to come off. They were never really interested in helping. They just wanted to be portrayed as the good guy, the hero of the story. Their true character has been revealed. At this point, the situation becomes much more perilous. If you bring up their behavior with them, you may discover that they respond by becoming defensive, aggressive, or even trying to manipulate you. They will change the story and make it look like you are the one who is at fault for having unreasonable expectations of them. They could try to turn the matter around and claim that you are ungrateful or demanding. This is due to the fact that they are skilled at manipulating others. They have mastered the ability to make people question their own perspectives. Even when your feelings are totally legitimate, they are skilled at making you feel like you are the one who is overreacting. This type of behavior can result in significant emotional harm. As time goes on, you may begin to doubt yourself. You may start to question your own judgment and become less certain about who you can trust. The individual who seems like they are good can make you feel terrible for the things they do wrong. They can make you feel like you are the one who is at fault, even when you have done nothing wrong, by projecting their own problems onto you and turning the tables. So, how can you tell when the mask is beginning to come off? 1. Inconsistency. Take note of the difference between what they say and what they do. Do they always say one thing, but do something different? If they only offer kindness when they have something to gain, or if their generosity is always dependent on the situation, that is a warning sign. 2. Deflection. Observe how they respond if you bring up their actions with them. Do they accept responsibility for their mistakes, or do they try to blame you or other people? A person who is truly good will accept the consequences of their acts, while a person who is pretending to be good will always find a way to avoid taking responsibility. 3. Emotional manipulation. Individuals who pretend to be good will attempt to manipulate your emotions in order to achieve their goals. They will act like they are a kind and altruistic person while manipulating your feelings of guilt, anxiety, and insecurity. However, once you stop providing them with what they desire, their true nature will be revealed. Control. Their ultimate objective is to gain control. They will act like they care about you, but only as long as you are able to meet their requirements. As soon as you are no longer of any service to them, they will throw you away without a moment's hesitation, and the mask will come off. The best way to defend oneself from folks like these is to remain alert and trust your gut feelings. If anything seems wrong, it probably is. Don't be fooled by their charm and deliberate generosity. They are not who they pretend to be. It may take a while, but eventually the mask will come off and you will see them for who they really are. Do not overlook these symptoms if you notice them. Bad individuals do not change, they simply adjust. The more time you spend with them, the more harm they will cause you. According to the Stoics, the only real way to judge a person is by their virtue. If a person does not have honesty, empathy, or accountability, they are not someone you should retain close to you. Now, please let me know in the comments if you have ever encountered someone like this. What actions did you take? Let's bring these warning signs to light and assist others in remaining safe. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing advice. Thank you for viewing, and keep in mind that the most powerful mind is the one that can see through falsehood. Stay alert, be careful,